Hey there, welcome. This is Quinn with PTSD, Wild Black. Doing some makeup, gonna go sing some karaoke with my friends, and I thought, oh, let me check in on this before I lose it. um, so, yesterday we went to a couples meeting, and the topic was on, like, you know how you take the inventory of your relationship? Hi there. You take the inventory of your relationship. God knows which colors I'm just putting on my face. Let's just throw anything on. Uh, I don't think that matches. Oh well. You take an inventory of your relationship to see what's really going on. What is your part in the dysfunction? What's your partner's part in the dysfunction? And how can you do things differently together? And Lord, apparently I'm not allowed to talk and put on eyeshadow at the same time. I just like slap it on there. Anyway, the topic was talking about how denial is the root of our dysfunction. Being in denial is the root of our dysfunction. And as someone who lives with PTSD, someone who lives as a survivor of trauma, if I deny what my reality is, what I've learned, what I've experienced, what I've gone through, it is just going to keep me in these cycles. So that's kind of why I make these videos. It's kind of why I started my vlog, was really just me being honest with what my reality was. And that's been the reality of the brain injury, the concussion, the car accident. But now I'm healing a lot. And so now I have the privilege to get into other areas of where I'm injured, which the brain injury, I have a real big challenge with emotions, of expressing my emotions, or it's expressing them, but also when I feel them, the part of my brain that got hit is really ouch. And so I know that I eventually go numb because I process too much of my emotions at once, if I process too much of my emotions at once. So I'm trying to learn to accept the brain and body that I have. I'm not even going to drag queen myself today. I'm just going to put on the bare minimum and leave the house. I'm allergic to most makeup, so that's why I'm not even doing foundation or anything like that, because I just do my eyes and my lips. But there's this denial. I have been denying my part in the dysfunction that I've had in my life. And the exercise they had you do was to write out your current relationship and all the things that you resent, can't stand about your current relationship, right? With your partner or with somebody that you're actively dealing with. Then you write out all of your previous romantic relationships and the things that you couldn't stand or that you resented or feared about those relationships. And then you write about your relationships with your family of origin, all the things that you resented and couldn't stand. And I read that and I just got in my chest, because I was just like, I'm not allowed to do that. I'm a good little girl. How can I dare disobey my family? How can I dare have any opinion, feeling, or need around what my partner is doing or saying? But I do. That's the things that we do. We do passive aggressive, reactive things when we're really just feeling this shit, So I was freaking out at that meeting. My energy was all over the place because it was too much emotion that I was processing. Because then they said, after you do that, the next thing is you don't tell your partner. Both partners are supposed to do this. You don't tell your partner what you wrote. You do share it with one other person, all the things that you've resented, and you take ownership of all of your patterns in those previous relationships. So the things that you started doing from family of origin. So for me, I deny that I have any feelings. I deny that I have any needs. I even also deny that I love someone. And that was the hardest part in my marriage, was denying that I was really in love with my partner, because there's this fear. If I tell you I love you, I'm going to lose you. That's kind of the fear that I was holding on to, because I watched my mother go through relationships. I watched my older sister go through relationships. And it's like, there's no point in telling someone you love them because they'll leave. And that's what I chose to believe, even though I had the example of my great aunt who passed, who I think Their 50th wedding anniversary was just shortly after her death. I want to say, that can't be right. That can't be right. That can't be right. No, no. They were married hella long. So I had the example of seeing someone in love, but being afraid of love. So I'm looking at what are the things that I deny? What's my part in this that I deny? And for those of us who live with complex PTSD, who are survivors of stalking, it's denying that we felt that our lives were at risk. At one point, our lives were at risk. There's also the denial of owning the moments when I'm safe, and denial of when I keep creating spaces or staying in spaces where I am not safe. And I know I'm not safe, but I keep staying in those spaces hoping that things will change. And in one of the groups, it was another group that I go to for women only, was talking about how you can have a fantasy addiction. And that's really what was going on with me, is that I live in fantasy, the fantasy that people are going to act right, the fantasy that people are going to change, the fantasy that people are going to see me for who I really am, the fantasy that people are going to give a fuck that I'm somebody with who's differently abled. And I don't know what I just did to that eye, but let's do it over here to this eye too. Um, the fantasy that I can put on my makeup like I used to before the brain injury. It's these fantasies that we hold on to that keeps us in dysfunction. And so, like, the more that I'm looking at reality, the people that initiated the gang stalking situation for me, that's what I'm currently living through. It's a fantasy for me to think that they're going to stop. It's a fantasy for me to think that they give a damn about how I feel. That's a fantasy. That they'll wake up. That's a fantasy. And I have to live with the reality of it, that there was a cyber attack on my computer this holiday weekend and on my phone. So, that's the reality of the things that happen. So I offer for you, what I like to do is let this be a space of healing. I like to let, when you come here with me, that this is a safe place for us to just be whole. And I really want, like, what was coming up in my soul when we were reading that chapter in the book, I was like, I really would like a workshop or a retreat where we write on these things that we've been denying, and especially the patterns from family of origin that we've been continuing that make us available to be. As a friend told me at the holiday dinner, he's like, you're the perfect target, Quinn. You're too patient. You're too kind. Plus, you're differently abled and you're Black. So this denial of the world being the way it is, that there are people who are followers that will just do anything for someone's affection, including harass another person, that I need to come out of that denial. And I need to look at what's my part in it, and how do I continue to uphold the old patterns from my childhood into my adulthood as a survivor. It has no place here anymore. That's I think, the message comes when you're ready sometimes. And I just really felt that there's no place here anymore for me to operate in denial of the world as it is, and denial of my reality as a Black woman. Because we're told to forgive so quickly. We're told to get over it so quickly. And I swallowed that down, and I just realized that there's so much that I've held on to. I can't even cry. I can't. I've got eyeliner on. Can't cry now. But I can't grieve this. And like, I really feel I need there to be a container for people who have lived not as the dominant culture to fully grieve, to see things for how they've really been, to call it out, to name it, and to name our part in continuing it. Like, for me, is making false claims that, oh, I'm going to get revenge, or choosing to harp on this particular issue again and again, or not believing what my reality is for myself. That's me staying stuck in the situation. That's me choosing to stay in the dysfunction. And I don't need to do that anymore. That I deserve to have a full life, to be whole, to be healthy. Um, but I know for me that's going to come from a place of grieving. And I'm going to just say it. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn what anybody thinks. I know that my stalkers watch my channel. I'm just like, whatever. But it's real. It is real that it feels like I would fracture if I were to allow all that space for all those feelings and things that I have shoved down. So I am just saying it out here with you. I'm willing to face it. I'm scared of facing it, but I'm willing to face it. And so I know in my life what helps is if there is fear, um, what part of myself am I relying on? And what part of myself will I think will let me down in facing a situation? So 1111. I recognize that self-reliance is a big part of my fear. Self-discipline, trying to be the good girl, the fucking martyr, the savior. I don't need to do that anymore. Self-confidence of thinking, oh, I should be able to do that. I'm a strong black woman, shit. I'm a black woman who's vulnerable. Okay? I get to be vulnerable. I'm willing to let go of all these false pieces of self that I've been relying on so that I can be my whole and authentic self. And I hope that anybody who watches this channel gets inspired to be their whole authentic selves, and that you have a space here to just be you. That even when you're watching whatever rambling that I'm doing, that you're getting this opportunity to just be you, and that it's okay for you to feel all the things you feel that everyone tells you should shut down. No, you have a right. You have a right to feel and a right to be. So, yeah, that's the next leg of the journey that I'm going on. I don't know if this color of lipstick is right, but I'm just going to use the camera as a mirror. Oh, that's bright. Okay, we're going to mute that. But yeah, I'm willing to face myself and to look at, I know that my part of staying in the dysfunction from family of origin allows me to continue to hurt future relationships with others, or allows me to seek out people who will hurt me like people from the family of origin or other romantic relationships have done. And I love myself enough to not allow myself to be hurt anymore. So I got to take the responsibility to take this inventory of myself so that I can love and support Quinn so that she can actually be useful to the world around her. Yeah, so that's where I am. All right, I'm going to go sing some songs, probably some Christmas and some jazz, even though my heart's been broken over jazz music, but I'm just going to sing. All right, till next time. Peace.